Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to Harness the Shift. My name is Jay. I am your host. We take time to heal here and to awaken and to rise together. Rooted in light, rewired for the return. This is Harness the Shift. Let's get started. This is Harness the Shift. I am Jay and I'm your host. How are you today? Ramona's here with us again.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. So we were just talking a little bit before we got started about, this whole thing, this whole concept about love, right? That the love in the human experience, that it's a challenging time because everybody's at a different level of consciousness, and some folks have stepped into their healing journeys, and some folks are just kind of caught up, and so it makes it to be a little bit challenging. So all the more reason why we have to step into this divine love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
how you doing, Ramona?
I'm doing well. It's really cool we were able to do this, and this wraps up our love series.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I did too. I like doing these little series. I was thinking, because I'm always thinking, like, what are we going to do? Like, what am I going to do next? Like, what would be the good thing to go into next? And I think, um, I've looked. I took a week. I took a week off of social media because I was just like, I had it. Talking about this human experience. I just had had it, and so it's like, okay, I have to come back to center. So I went and did a hike, went out to the coast and spent some time just, away from the noise and just asking for a little bit of guidance on that. And I think what I would like to do is kind of just go back to the beginning, right? Go back to the beginning. And I think, I've always said this in this journey that I believe that the key to unlock is mindfulness. So going back to that, what does mindfulness look like? And maybe have a series on that, because that's the key. Because if we can be mindful and in the present, and those intrusive thoughts come in, you can stop, before you say something that wouldn't be so kind, or wouldn't be necessary, or whatever it may be. That emotional intelligence. So maybe that's what it'll be, talking about that. Maybe do chunks where it's like this whole concept about emotional intelligence and getting in control of the nervous system. And I don't know. So we'll see. I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this is our finale of this series, and I've enjoyed it because, I think I've learned some things about myself, right? And that's cool when you can sit back and learn stuff, learn things along the way in trying to convey it to other people too. It's be the teacher, be the learner, be the teacher, be the learner, right? And that's what it is. And we all have that opportunity. We will continue to have that opportunity as humanity wakes up, right? So yeah.
And we did sign up for that. If we came here with the purpose to remember and awaken, it's going to be filled with experiences and lessons. And it should be seen as that, and not really take it too serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or attaching ourselves to those things,
Yeah.
And I think just a big bridge to love and centering is, or coming to our heart, is gratitude.
Yeah.
I think gratitude requires us to be present, mindful. Present reminds me of a gift, and accepting a gift from God it's part of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, that is very mindful, and it's something we can maybe talk about, but in another podcast. But I think being mindful, being present, we can take gratitude and become present.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, back into our heart center.
And it's like I said, when we started, it is a delicate dance, because not only we've stepped into this journey like full on surrender, like, okay, here I am, lock, stock, and barrel, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I'm in it. But at the same time, like, giving yourself a grace in this journey, and uh it's okay to be pissed off about things, but just bringing that back, right? Like, okay, I want to feel this, but bringing it back to the heart, because the heart is an amazing, amazing little vortex we have here, that
Yeah.
has the
Yep.
ability, yeah, it has the ability to just alchemize. Um, when we bring it, we may not understand sometimes the things that go on, but everybody's where they need to be, and it's in divine timing. And I I got on Facebook last night, and I saw something about, uh, somebody said 80/20, and this whole thing about the 80/20, with 80% of humanity is going to be awake 20, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, it's not really that. There's a certain amount of folks that have stepped into this journey that are really kind of holding the line, right? Like, from a spiritual
Mhm.
sense. And we have to be able to look at what's going on and observe it and not attach. Because
Mhm.
the moment we attach, then that's like, you're all over the place. So
Mhm.
being able to bring it, okay, I see this. Whoa, that's something. And then, because at the end of the day, what am I going to do about everything that's going on in the world, right? And if we think like, oh, it's our job to wake up people, no, it's not. Like, that comes from the ego. It's everything is unfolding the way that it's supposed to unfold, and we'll get there. And I know people are tired, um, but we'll get there when we get there. So it
Yeah.
is what it is, right? So over the past week, couple weeks, we've explored love from the body, from the mind, from the spirit, and how it shows up in our nervous system, and how to regulate that, and how to rewire the brain, and to rewire these old patterns, right? And it's such an amazing concept. I don't think that I really understood it 5 years ago,
Right.
but now I get it, about the whole. about the whole rewiring, about challenging uh, programs, and then you throw a little bit of that, we've been here before kind of thing, and it's like, what's going on? I had a conversation with Jen. This we we spent some time together on Monday, and it was nice. And she shared with me. I was just crying, and I didn't even realize why I was crying. And it's like, crying is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, and you just move through that emotion. But um, she's like, I just didn't even know where it was coming from. And you add that in the mix, and it's like, whoa,
Mhm.
we are going through a lot collectively. And I always like to just remind people to just give themselves a little bit of grace through this whole process, because like it's a hard thing to really shine the light right on the
Mhm.
darkness, even within ourselves. And it's a lot to step in and be full surrender and say, okay, I am full surrender, but I don't really like what's going on in right now in this particular whatever. And I'm going to be pissed off. And it's okay to have that emotion, right? And sit with it for a little bit, but not to attach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
Not to
agree. I
Yeah.
think the spiritual healing, or as I would say, remembering, um, it starts when we stop dividing what's good and what's bad, because then we're
Right.
making the bad real.
Yeah.
And the moment we accept all of it, and when we do have those emotions of, because I think there's only two feelings, there's the feelings of love and the feeling of fear. So and then the feelings of fear, we we start to get the emotion, and it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be grief, it could be, and for me, I've tend to always run away from the fear, those feelings of not so good.
Yeah.
And so part of the remembering and the awakening is to really just feel that,
Yeah.
and really take a moment to say, why am I so angry? I'm really angry, and I'm angry at this and this, and I'm angry at that person and that person and that person. And then really just sit with it and say, why?
Yeah.
And once you sit with it and really understand why you're feeling this way, bringing it into the light,
Right.
where everything belongs, where everything is whole.
Yeah.
And then it is most likely won't, that specific situation may not arise again. Um, and same with joy. If something really makes us happy and joyous, and that's exactly how I want to feel again, that we can't cling on to that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really good to acknowledge our emotions and work with it and stay with it and create space for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Being in that moment, it of joy. So if I could share, uh, went out to the coast on Monday, and Lou was just like, he could smell the ocean. So
Mm.
the whole day he's like so excited. He's seeing the water, and he's like so excited, like, we're here, we're here. And I'm like, wait a minute, bub, like, we're gonna get to the beach. Just chill out. We gotta get a hike in. Um, but like the moment he got on the beach, and he's just like running and being, silly, and like just he gets these zoomies and he's just so excited, and it was just like, oh man, he's a character, right? So it's like that brings you joy. And so
Mhm.
I think I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's so important right now that we cherish those moments, because
Mhm.
yeah, out here's a little chaotic. So if we can take those times to step away from the chaos, because we do have control. We do. That you
Mhm.
do have control about what you interface with on a daily. So if
Mhm.
you can step back, take a break, and just, go be in nature. And um it was just so, like, it was what I needed for the soul, like the roaring of the ocean, the smell, like he and not just him give, like seeing that, and getting joy from it, but other people, they're like, oh my god, he's just so cute. And Toby was there, and they were having so much fun, and they're like running around. And so it brought joy to other people that were there on the beach, right? And um so that's when you realize, wow, there is a shift, we're coming back, people, it sparks up conversations. And that's what it's all about. We're
Mhm.
to bring that connection back, because human beings were not meant to be, reclusive. that's
Right.
not that's not our nature. Our nature is to, to be out here, and 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 you can bring other people joy with it. So I'm grateful for that. I have a sense of gratitude that that little guy brings smiles to people's faces. It's a good thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think the ultimate goal, I think it's just neutrality.
yeah,
And when I say, you have to accept everything as is and give it space, it's not about making it real.
right,
Because the moment we start to battle it and wanting to fix it, we make things real. So when I say, you got to accept it and you have to embrace it, it just means that you're not giving it power.
right,
Because the moment we start to argue with it and oppose it, then we make it real. So love is the only unshakable truth.
yeah,
And that's why we bring that into that space as well.
right,
So I think the ultimate goal of becoming love and remembering love is to live a neutral life practice, um, without judgment. And that you'll know you're there when you have that peace of mind and that
yeah,
you are not being shaken by
yeah,
the outside world.
yeah. And yeah, you're right there on the money with that. And you do have a sense of peace about things, right?
Mhm.
You can view things that are going on outside of yourself. Um, but yeah, the whole thing with love is to not enter into judgment. And look, it's hard. It can be very hard sometimes. It's a challenge. This I'm going to be the first to say that it is, look, they call it the narrow path for a reason, folks,
Mhm.
because it's the less traveled. But I
Mhm.
like the less traveled,
Mhm. Yeah. I mean,
because
it
you
is.
there's so much beauty in that path. On that
Mhm.
path, you don't see the things that you would see on the wide path. Does
Yeah,
that make
that's
sense?
that. Yeah, well, yeah, that's why it's an internal. It
Yeah,
it the path is within.
Yep. Yep.
You know, because if it would have been external, Jesus would have said, I'm not getting on that cross. Like, no one's going to kill me. But he
No.
knew that wasn't the battle. He knew that the path was within.
Right. Right.
And
Renewed in the spirit.
yeah. So what's true is spirit, love, God. That's our eternal nature.
Yeah.
And that can never be harmed. And that's what Jesus showed.
Yeah.
That was the, the ultimate, the events. It was to show us that we cannot be harmed.
No, and whatever's going on there has already been one in the spirit anyway. So, however it's going to unfold is going to unfold. However the truth is going to unfold is going to unfold. And, to observe it can be a little shocking at times to observe it, but at the same time, it's kind of, I look at it like there's this sloughing, right? There's this, the darkness has to slough off in order for, it's kind of like the rose, right? The rose, it starts to, and it's starting to slough up. It's like that, right? And then, everything comes together. So it's just maintaining the balance, until that happens. And another thing that I had said was, I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to drop a little bit of wisdom. So no, we're not at 80%. We're not even at 50, and we're not even at 40. Like, there's a handful of people that have stepped into this, the shadow work, the when you're triggered, asking, okay, why, when, where, what's going on, where's this coming from? Because when we can ask the spirit, it will be revealed, right? And then, so the more people step into that, that's the important thing. And I think there might be a little bit of confusion about that. So, because it's this, gotta wake people up. It's like, no, you just have to share the truth, right? Whatever that is, whatever you've discerned about. And the truth is, what you say, love is the truth. Because our bodies remember. Our bodies are remembering. We're remembering who we are, and that's what this whole thing is remembering that piece of, like, oh, you know what, I am, there is no separation. Like, I am the essence, and we're here to embody that essence, and that essence is, love and patience and kindness and compassion, especially compassion. It's like, I wish I had a cowbell. Compassion, more compassion, more compassion, because that's really what we need right now. To have that understanding, that, I'm not better than anyone because I stepped on this journey a little bit earlier, and you're, the same with, we're just on this, and we're sharing the wisdom as we go along, as we remember. And I think the goal is for everyone to step into this. Will everybody? No. And that's okay. And I think maybe some folks are a little stuck in that, kind of where I was 5 years ago, like, gotta wake everybody up, and, gotta do this and gotta do that. And it's like, no, you just have to be the example. And I see a lot of people waiting. It's like, there's no need to wait. We're not waiting on someone to come. We're it's about embodying it. So, because once we embody it, once we make that choice to embody it, we start to remember.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we've already dived in, but we've talked about breathing, like the whole somatic thing about breathing and how uh well, hands down, we are not breathing like we should be, right? I think a lot of times we can thwart getting angry and projecting that out if we can just breathe.
Mhm.
So that whole concept about the somatic about breath, and then merging that kind of with the mind and that
Yeah.
cognitive, being awareness, the awareness of what we're doing. Because sometimes, you have this behavior, we get into behavior, and that behavior becomes automatic. So it's this whole rewiring, and it's so fascinating. It really
Mhm.
truly is.
Yeah. And then the breath work is not anything new.
No,
That's an
not at all.
ancient practice.
It
You
ain't
know,
new age, baby. It's
yeah.
ancient.
And but everyone's going to find what works for them. I
Yeah,
think, that was a big part of my life a few years ago is, my daily 30-minute breath
yeah,
work.
yeah,
But again, we don't want to use those things to cope. I think it's a great stepping stone. It was a great stepping stone for me to kind of get me where I am. And I still use it, but it's not, oh, you have to do this.
right, right, right.
It's not that. I think it's everybody is different, and they will find their practice. Your breath is your life, and to regulate your nervous system, yes, your breath is vital. Even just to observe it and sit with it.
Yeah.
And I
And
know you on your notes, being able to identify where you feel it in your body, and bring that breath there. It's definitely a beautiful tool for us in
yeah,
our journey. And what I feel that we will get to a point where we will really embody all that we are, where we won't need to continuously practice these things, or the mantras or the stones. And I think that those are all very useful tools throughout the journey, but I feel that eventually you will get into that really neutral state where you're God and you know it.
yeah. Transformation.
Mhm.
Yeah, transformation. And
Yeah.
I
A
want to
butterfly,
share that.
yeah, a butterfly doesn't go back into its cocoon. What is that? A shift in being, the art and practice of transformation. Oh, okay, cool. I've not seen that.
A shift in being, because that's really what it is. It's and the shift. I mean, I'm sure you could probably share a little bit with this. That and I think a lot of people would relate to this, like, because a lot of the behavior that we have as adults has come from uh, being a child, right? And look, my parents were amazing parents, but there were things that I didn't get because they didn't know. They only knew what they knew, right? So being able to go back and say, "Hey, little Jamie, you're this, you're that," and being able to kind of counsel, be of counsel, and to love myself in the way that my parents didn't. And I think that's so important in this journey
Mm-hmm.
is to give, that's part of the whole love, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and forgiveness for, you know, what you didn't get from your parents, and understand that, they were running off a little, they were running off of programming, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's it
Yeah.
is a it's a good thing. It's a good thing to revisit that. And my parents are not alive anymore, so it's not like I can say, hey, what's going on, what about this, what about that, um but to be able to just understand that, look, people only know what they know. And if you're willing to step in, and there takes a level of brave to be brave to do this, right? Because you're looking at things that you may not, want to necessarily do in the beginning. Um, but when you can get to a place where um, you can tap into those stories of your life where you may have been fearful as a child, or you felt unworthy as a child, or you may have grown up in scarcity or lack, and being able to really like go back and observe that story and say, okay, I can't change that, but I can say, you know what, I'm sorry that that happened, or you didn't get what you needed or whatever, but now I can do that. So it's being able to kind of love that younger self, right? That
Mm-hmm.
didn't get what they needed, and stepping into it,
Mm-hmm.
because all those little things, right, that kind of hold us back. And I'm speaking from experience, because I've let a lot of things that have happened in my life uh, probably hold me back from things that I could have stepped in, that sort of thing. But um, you just gotta keep digging. You just gotta figure it out. And I was there last week when I talked to you on Thursday. I'm like, I've had it. I'm tired of this nonsense. And
Yeah.
um, you get to the point where you're like, "Ugh, how much of this do I have to do?" And it's like, well, you step in,
Yeah.
it's a consistent thing, because
And we tend to blame the external world.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why we suffer,
yeah,
because we start to blame,
yep,
and then we can't control,
right,
and we go into we go into the ego self and
yep,
start to argue with things, and we get worked up, and it happens, it happens. But when we really see it, and and go within, and say, okay, what's the silver linings to this trigger?
hmm,
What is this telling me? you know and we may not get an answer right away, but it does come.
right,
It does come, because when something like that happens to me, and I get angry, or I get really sad, or something triggers me, and I can't find the answer to that, I know that I will get it. It'll come to me. And when it does, either I'm taking a bath, a walk, or a shower, or cooking, or cleaning, it just comes to me. And I remember what was I doing prior to that happening. Like,
Yeah.
where was I? What was I doing? What were my, you know, what was I digging into?
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, this is still within me. This
Yeah.
is still something I need to bring up. And also, with our traumas, a lot of them are, when we were kids,
Yeah.
school, whatever it was. And those little things will also come up, little memories, and I'll be really vulnerable right now. And this is
All right.
when you have to really catch yourself, when
Yeah.
you really have to pay attention to your feelings, your emotions. You have to see them now very intuitively. So I've had issues with my gums for many, many years. I've, experienced periodontal issues, and I've been spending a ton of money since I was in my late 20s. I'm 52 today. And so years,
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
throwing that in. But
Happy birthday, Ramona. Let's sing happy birthday to Ramona, guys. Happy birthday, my friend. I love you.
thank you, Jamie.
I love you, sir. I love you so
Um,
much. You come in to visit in a couple weeks and we'll celebrate and
yeah,
all of
we'll
that.
we'll do something fun. But before I lose track of what
Yeah,
I was
yeah, as you
saying,
were. Sorry.
a vulnerable moment.
You were
And
talking
this
about
is how,
periodontal.
yes. So I've struggled with that. And, those procedures are painful and very expensive in order for me to keep my teeth. And then going, the doctor telling you, you still have to do this, and you want to keep your teeth, right? And then there's all this like guilt, like if it was my fault. There's always this. And I'm always looking for solutions. Like, what can help me get rid of these pockets in my teeth? What can help my gums? And then one day, I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning the house. And this memory popped up of when I was a kid at a group of friends in my neighborhood. And they would tease me about my teeth. And it was so clear to me what they were telling me. They would make fun of the size of my teeth. They would compare it to a horse teeth. And that stuck with me, and I believed it. So it was a belief. It's a belief.
Yeah.
So throughout my whole life, that was a belief in my subconscious. And now I'm reaping those, the beliefs of that. And
Yeah.
I didn't ignore it. And I sat with it. And I went back, and I kind of said, well, that's not true.
No.
But I believed it.
You believed it.
And it's and that is how our body responds to our trauma. And at that moment, I accepted it, and I said, I no longer blame myself. I no longer blame the dentist. I no longer blame anything anymore. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But it's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true.
It's definitely not true.
Right?
I think you have a beautiful smile.
But the point is that we will remember, and little things like that will come, and you have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And bring it up to surface and really say, how did I feel? Like, why? Yes, it hurt me when I was a kid. It hurt that they teased me.
Yeah.
And we carry that with us. And that's just one example. There's a lot of things that we, in our culture, coming from Mexico, in our culture, we never talked about our feelings. God forbid we ever
Yeah.
spoke about our feelings. And, no, you had to suppress all those things. And guess what? Now they're coming up and they're showing in the body. So that
Yeah.
was my vulnerable moment. And it is what it is. And I'll continue to take care of my teeth, but now with a different belief, you know?
Yeah. Um, and that's what it's about, is rewiring
Mhm.
that, because that obviously was traumatic for you, that you were being, teased and everything
Yeah.
and picked on. And like, I think all of us have had situations in their childhood where they've been, you know, teased and whatever. And look, I've had it in my adult life.
Hmm.
Um, and being able to look at that and saying, you know what? No, that's not true. I am not that, or that is not true, or this isn't that, or whatever it may be. Um, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we start to pay attention to those things
Yeah.
because that's our spirit
Yeah.
telling us, hey, this is what's going on with you.
Yeah. You talk about, well, that's a whole somatic thing, right? So you
Mhm.
were teased, and then all of a sudden now you have this situation where and so it manifested in that, right? And um I've grown up in, a family that had joint issues, because in the family unit there's a lot of anger. um but also, I should say, in the generational, right there in the family, in this lifetime, but then also in the soul lineage too. And I've dealt with a lot of anger, and it's manifested in my joints. And so that's where the whole life wave has really helped a lot, but also this healing. Hi. Uh, do you have something to say? You know what, when he's not getting the attention, this one will just be like in your face. But carrying that anger in my joints, I feel like it's starting to, like, I'm moving more fluid. I don't feel as stiff. And like, like I mentioned, LifeWave has really helped with that. Um
Yeah, and that's a tool that,
it's
you
a
know,
tool, right?
just because
Absolutely.
we're navigating a world that,
Yep.
you know, the when I say, everything in the outside world, if it's fear, it's an illusion. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that we just have to like stop everything we're doing because we're perfect and we're whole and we're God. No, we are going through the waves of healing and experiences, and we're picking up tools that are helping us along the way. And
Yeah.
for us, we found this little patch, life wave, that allows our physical body to function and heal the way it's supposed to without, it's a transdermal patch. And for now, that is working. That
Yeah.
is helping you, the path of least resistance. That's what I always go back to that. The
Yeah.
path of least resistance
Yeah.
to allow us to continue the flow.
There's things that are blocked for a reason, right?
Mhm.
And I think when we do get a little bit of resistance, it's like, whoa, that's not the right path. And and I've had to learn that through this journey because I've always was that go getter, go. You know what I mean? Like
Me
the
too.
go getter, you know, keep going, keep going, keep going. And sometimes we have to step back and just, if you feel resistance, then it's probably not not meant to,
Yes.
because everything, if you're in the flow, it's going to be,
Yeah.
it's going to flow, right? And I think when we get resistance, it's it gives us a minute to just kind of pause, like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of resistance here, maybe I need to try something new. And I'm in that right now. I am living that right now because I'm trying to figure out, I know what my purpose is, but I think I'm trying to figure out on how I get there. How do I get from point A to B? And I'm trying to remember that because I've kind of just been like, okay, let's throw it out there and it sticks against the wall. Let's see if it sticks, but it doesn't. And it's like, "Arr." So having to step back
Yeah.
and you talked about, like, when you take you're in the shower and then it's all of a sudden you get these, I call them these divine downloads from the spirit, where it's like, oh, I got it. The answer is always there. We just have to dial in.
Mm-hmm.
When we get too much here, we
Mm-hmm.
step out of the flow because we're trying to control it. And when we're in the flow, God will guide everything. So I'm kind of in this uncomfortableness right now
Mm-hmm.
because
Totally.
I'm trying to remember, and I think a lot of it's coming a little bit clearer that, yeah, I have all these great things that I want, that I believe are going to be for the future, but I think maybe I'm a little ahead of myself. And that's okay. So now I'm a little ahead of myself, and now I'm kind of tweaking it on how it works. But here's the thing, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the more that I can step back and look at it and observe it, I can say, okay, that didn't work. We're not going to do that. And that, this, that. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure, because if you talk to anybody that's been successful, they've gone through it too. So it's being able to step back and not get into that old programming of, I'm not good enough, or uh you know nobody's this, nobody's going to listen, or who's going to, and you do these self-limiting beliefs and get into that. It's sometimes it's just about recalibrating, because everything is changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
and and there's a timing for everything. And I think it's just, also, I'm starting to understand that, you know, in nowadays, video is everything. People want to see, they want to see you.
Yeah. Um,
And so getting comfortable with that, because there's an uncomfortableness with that.
yeah. Um,
Um
this book here,
mm,
um, Ask and It Is Given by
yep,
Abraham Hicks. This book
yep.
really helped me stay on path. Uh, kind of, like you were saying, you know where you want to go, where where you want to be, but sometimes, we get stuck in the pattern of, hustle. I have to know what I need to do. I have to know which path to take, and that's the old control
Yep.
programming,
Yep.
learning, I gotta learn, I gotta know,
I gotta have it all planned out.
Yeah.
Gotta have it all
And
planned out.
I think this book helped me um, rely on spirit and just kind of let go of controlling the outcome, controlling everything, and just trusting the unknown. And that book talks a lot about, the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And when we get caught up in the, I need to do this, I need to do that. For me, what works for me is stepping out of that and then just do things I like and that make me happy.
Yeah.
Because when we stop everything that we're doing that we think we need to be doing and we go into what brings us joy, whether it's dancing or drawing, painting, singing, whatever makes you happy, you need to step into that. And when you're there, you create a completely different space around you. And all of a sudden, just things come to you.
Yeah.
This is where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Because that's how God works. You will know your way when you are at peace, because that's our nature. When we get too involved in the chaos and the drama and okay, this guy's doing this guy's telling me to do this, and this other guy is telling me to do it this way, and that is all, it's too much chaos and drama. So come back, bring some joy into your life. You went and took Archie Lou for a walk on the beach. You recentered.
I had to.
And you came back and said, oh, okay, I need to go here. And that's how God speaks to us.
I literally had to. After I had that, we had our little, look, we've been on this, we lean on each other when we're having hard times like that. And I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I don't know what to do. And I'm like, F it. I'm done. And it's like, okay, I just need to just chill for a minute. And it's funny that you say that, like the whole creation, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna get on Shmule. Shmule is a little karaoke app. And I just was like, singing because that brings me joy. And also I believe that in song, like I can connect. So, I think I'm just muddling through this little rough patch, but man, damn, let me tell you, it's not easy. And even the folks like myself, like you, that are on this journey, we're committed to this journey. Um, we go through it too, where it's like, okay, let me step back, let me figure out what's going on, because I want to show up and be the best version of what I can be for others, right? So if I'm like got chaos, or I'm being affected by chaos, like I can't be, I can't step into what we've been talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if my nervous system's all jacked up, and I can't regulate my own self, like how can I step into you know, this concept of divine love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Also, I think there's a lot of great speakers who talk about being successful
Yeah.
and entrepreneur, and there's a lot of wonderful help out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
also have to remember that we all deliver within the level of consciousness that we're in.
Right.
And if we don't match up with that consciousness, then it won't work for us. So
Right.
sometimes, I look back into some people that I really loved and followed, and I just don't relate to that anymore.
Right.
And you're going to find a lot of that. And then you'll find something that's going to click.
Right. Right.
And so it again doesn't make it right or wrong that you don't connect with people in that way, but it's just you'll find people within your level, and it'll come.
Yeah, and it's just about being the one thing that it that happens when these, and this has happened along my journey. It's not something new. It's not like it's like knocking me off my you know
Off your horse.
off my horse. Um, but it's just kind of like, okay, I need to recalibrate. And I think a lot of it is I've got to go back and just kind of recalibrate and kind of revise my plan. And there's, a course that I need to take. So, well, that I've already paid for, but I need to I gotta do that. So that's what I'm going to do, and take time to do that. But, it's about loving yourself through these times of uncertainty, whether it's in your life or whether it's the external, and trusting that everything is as it should be, um,
Mm-hmm.
and just returning back to that presence of love, because at the end of the day, I do know I agreed to be here at the specific time, and
Mm-hmm.
so I also agreed how I was going to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got to remember that, and it'll come.
Yeah.
It'll
And
come.
also what's comforting is that if you're in a place or in a space of uncertainty and you just don't know where to go, maybe it's just a time to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
because our presence, it doesn't change. Our light doesn't change if we're doing things. We're not doers.
No.
We're creators. So if we're not doing something and we feel like we have to do something, but nothing comes up, or I'm
Right. Right.
stuck
Right.
or stagnant, I think
Yeah.
it's just being, just
Yeah.
hold, just compassion, love for yourself, and
Yeah.
be.
Holding
Yeah.
space, and not, like the whole thing with social media. You gotta be out here, and you gotta put a video out 3 times a day, and you know, do you? Is it about attracting the right people versus just attracting followers that aren't going to really resonate with anything that you have to say anyway?
Right.
So it's it's about going back to that creation. Like, I'm not just going to put something out there just to put it out there. Like, I want to be able, not that I want, but like, my compass is saying it's got to be something with intention, right? Because I think everything has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not getting caught up in all of this, you got to do this and you got to do that. And, um, because this is where you're like, we're talking about love, having love for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that love is not transactional. That's also including your self love, right? It's
Yep. Yep.
like, and and it requires the courage to sit in times of uncomfortableness when you really don't have the direction. You're just like, you want to scream because you don't have the direction. But it's in those times that you get the direction, right?
In moments of peace, in moments
Yes.
of stillness.
Yeah. And so just kind of knowing that it's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to say that. And being in it, and I understand that I have to be patient and not get caught up in the old programming. Like if I'm just sitting around doing nothing, I'm not doing any, like I'm, you know, these self-limiting beliefs. Like if I'm not doing anything, then I'm not successful, or I'm being lazy or whatever. Here's the thing. Like a lot of us, if the spirit is calling you to rest, there's a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And because in rest, this is where we can, heal
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
an energetic level. And so
100%.
when you're so programmed to go, 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 hit the ground running, I got to do this, I got to do that. And um, a lot of that comes from what my career has been in clinical research. It's always go, 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 right? And
Mm-hmm.
um, planes, trains, and automobiles, and you know, getting out of that. So just being kind to yourself and being compassionate, having a little bit of self compassion, and understand that it takes time to rewire all of this, and there's a reason why it comes back around. So it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be learning here, and asking those questions. Okay, where's this coming from? Why is this coming? What's going? Is there another layer that I need to and I think that's what's happening right now. Is
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people are sloughing off these layers of this, programming or trauma or whatever, old patterns, to make room for the new. But there's this liminal space, right, that you have to just kind of float in for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here just holding on, like,
Yeah. And that's why we did this,
yeah,
because you know it's an energy that we're
yeah,
putting out there,
yeah,
whether people see this or not. It's an energy that we want to put out there,
yeah,
because we will all come back to our heart center, whether it's on this lifetime or another, but we will all come back to our source,
yeah,
because we can't pull away so much. It's impossible. It's that we all come from source, and we are coming back to source,
yeah,
but that means we will come back to our heart center.
yeah. And understanding that everybody's on their journey, and that we're not here to wake anybody up. We're here to plant seeds, and let the spirit water it. And when you understand that, it kind of takes away the pressure to that not everybody is going to wake up in this lifetime. They'll have an opportunity to recycle, to have another opportunity. Personally, I don't want to come back here. When it's time, when Beam Me Up Scotty comes to get the Jamesters, I'm done. I don't want to come back here. Send me somewhere else in the galaxy, wherever that even exists. I don't know, but I like, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
I get
Earth,
it.
Earth school is tough.
I
It's
get
tough,
it.
and um, but knowing I signed up for the toughness, I signed up for the challenges. And so if I signed up for the challenges, then I know how to get out of the
Yeah,
challenges.
yeah,
I just got to remember. So,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I want to thank you, Jamie. I think this has been a wonderful,
it
uh,
has been.
yeah, I loved it. We'll come up with something else and we can share it again. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you sharing, being vulnerable and sharing, your journey in this, because um, so many are going through it, right? And I think when we share, I've just always said this: the more that we share with people that they're not alone in this process, and that you just have to be patient with yourself, like, the more that we talk about this, we realize, you know what? I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just, having faith in the process and giving yourself a little bit of grace and understanding everything is on divine timing, and it's all good.
Yep.
It's all
Yep.
good.
You bet.
So yeah. Have
Namaste.
Have a good day. Happy birthday. And
Thank you.
whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you pretty soon here.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks. So um
We'll
yeah,
do something
we'll
live or something.
we'll get together, and but yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I
Thanks for
appreciate your
having me.
commitment to, showing up every week. It is a lot. So I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your time. So thank you so much.
I love you, and
I love you
you're
too.
doing things right, Jamie.
Thank you. Sometimes it's just,
One
you got to
step
go
at a
through it
time.
one
One
step
step
at a
at a
time.
time.
Yep.
Got to
Yep.
start somewhere.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Good to
Ciao.
see you. Take care. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us in this Divine Love series, understanding that, love is the root and everything else grows from it. So the more that we can step into this process and loving ourselves through this process, and understanding that it's not easy. I'll be the first to say it's not easy, but it is rewarding work, and there's growth that happens from it. There's clarity, there's peace, there's alignment, and there's purpose. And we've been programmed not to be the most patient. So learning that patience, and mostly learning the patience with yourself. It's so important. So um, just try to live, intentionally, with love in your heart. And I know that it can be challenging at times with everything that's going on, but as we close this chapter of divine love, we're not going nowhere over here at Harness the Shift, because that's what we're doing. There's a shift happening. There's a shift in our being on a collective scale. So the more that we can, love intentionally and step into that, um and and explore how all this comes together, and especially being patient in the process. And I'm living it right now, kind of questioning, like, what's the next step, like, and going, not necessarily back to the drawing board, but stepping back and just kind of saying, okay, where am I going with this? So as we end this series, there will be another series. So I think I'll probably show up next week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll show up, and then, we'll have another series coming up. But I think I'm just trying to gauge where people are so that I can be of best service to, to everyone. So as we close this chapter, just continue, with your practice of loving intentionally, especially yourself going through this, and, use breath. Use breath to help you stay in control of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It's an amazing tool that you can use, because our speech, what we say, can affect. And so if we can control that and how we move through the world, the better we can be in alignment, and the journey just continues, right? So thank you so much for tuning in to Harness the Shift. And all of my social media is if you're watching this on YouTube, is in my in the description of YouTube. We're going live this is live on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. I think going forward, it looks like I think I'll do my longer writings on Substack. So follow me on Substack. It's Rooted Light Drops with Jay. And then I'm probably going to be on X a little bit more. And that's also Rooted Light Drops with Jay. And then there's Rooted Light Drops with Jay on Instagram. And then I'm on Facebook. I'll probably just cross post from Instagram for Facebook. And I do have a Facebook group. It's called the Rooted Light Collective. And it's just, it's a group for those that are questioning their programming, everything, to include religion. And because we've been lied to about everything. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, that if I was working for the darkness and I wanted to lead people astray, what would I do? And religion is a great way to do it, because we know that they've left books out of the Bible. We know we haven't been taught the esoteric teachings before Jesus Christ came along. And I think we owe it to ourselves to really kind of dive into that, because there's so much wisdom that we can really extrapolate for this time. And just, keep holding the line, and just understand you have the power to align with love. Like, it's not something that needs to be chased. It's already rooted in you. It's already in your bones. And so you're just having to rewire for this return to love. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. That's a wrap. Bye, guys. Well, folks, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to Harness the Shift. A quick reminder, I am a brand partner with LifeWave X39 patch system and supporting your body's natural healing. Don't forget, the power within X39 activates your body's natural ability to heal and renew. For deeper insights and long-form writings, visit my Substack account, Rooted Light Drops with Jay. All links and social media handles, including Instagrams at Harness the Shift Podcast and at Rooted Light Wellness, are in the YouTube description below. We're walking this path of healing and awakening with you. And until next time, stay rooted in the light and rewired for the return.